Namaskar, an exuberant evening to one and all. It gives me immense warmth and great pleasure to welcome each one of you to the virtual heritage walk of National Gallery of Modern Art on day 7 of Anubhav 2021. I would like to extend a warm welcome to today's speaker, Mr. Argha Kamal Ganguly sir. Today's event is hosted by National Victor Public School, IP Extension, Delhi. And I welcome all the students, teachers, and faculty members joining us from there. I am Shubha Bhatt, a SPICMAKE volunteer of Miranda House, Delhi. I have been associated with SPICMAKE for the last 6 months now, and it has been a tremendous journey so far. I will be moderating today's event along with Mansi. Virtual heritage walks are the best way to learn and recognize our culture and tradition, along with the philosophy, myths, and rituals associated with them. I now invite our senior volunteer, Mrs. Neerja Sareen, to tell us more about this module.
Thank you, Shubha. Namaskar to all. I am Neerja Sareen from SPICMAKE, Delhi. Today we are taking you on a walk through the galleries of the Modern Art Museum in Delhi, called the National Gallery of Modern Art, and in short, NGMA. This has a large collection of works by masters from India and abroad. In order to provide all-round holistic experience of our art, culture, and traditions, SPICMAKE believes in taking the students out of their classrooms onto heritage walks, nature walks, and museum walks. This walk module is meaningful and enjoyable for the students. One such popular trip has been a visit to the National Gallery of Modern Art in Delhi, where students are treated to specially curated walks arranged by the museum authorities. Last year, at the time of pandemic, when all social and cultural activities came to a standstill, an idea was born: virtual tours. And so, with the help of NGMA administration and with the passionate support of our assistant curator, Argha Ganguly, a beautiful online program was created. Tour of the gallery, showcasing the works of renowned painters and sculptors. It is educative, informative, and an interaction module. This virtual tour of NGMA has been greatly appreciated by students, faculty, and the adults. So now, without taking more of your time, I invite Shubha to introduce the speaker and to take the program forward. I hope you will all enjoy today's session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The speaker for the day, Mr. Ganguly, was born in Barakpur, Kolkata. He pursued his master's degree in fine arts from Ravindra Bharati University, Kolkata. Having a specialization in painting, Mr. Ganguly keeps a keen interest to explore different mediums and various fields of inventive expression. He is presently serving at the National Gallery of Modern Art, New Delhi, as an assistant curator. Apart from storytelling, curated walkthroughs, conducting workshops and outreach program, he has also delivered talks at NCRT and TEDx. Sir's articles are also published in various magazines and newsletters. Mr. Ganguly also engages as a guest lecturer in the College of Art, New Delhi, and National School of Drama, among others. I would now request Mr. Ganguly to take over. Sir, please.
Thank you, Shubha, and thank you, Nirjaji, for a quick and necessary introduction. And thank you, Speak Mackey, the whole team for supporting. And I should also extend my thanks to the staff member, the IT department of National Gallery of Modern Art, to have this particular hyperlinks or the necessary support. So National Gallery of Modern Art, Rashtriya Adhunik Kala Sangrahalaya. It started in the year 1954. It started with a building named Jaipur House. If you are in Delhi, in India Gate Circle, we have different houses like Baroda House, Hyderabad House. So Jaipur House, it was initially a king queen's living palace. Let's see how the museum looked like. So this is a small miniature of the whole campus. It's around 4 acres. It's just next to High Court in the India Gate Circle, Central Delhi. And this particular museum started with a butterfly-shaped building, which is named as Jaipur House. And then in 1954, and in 2009, because the collection was becoming more bigger, we have large number of artists, the new wing or the new extension came. So if you are coming in museum, you can have the old building where we are doing right now the special exhibitions, like for 3 months, for 6 months. And also we have the new wing where you can have the permanent gallery from 1850 onwards till now. Who are the important artists? Their paintings, sculptures, ideas, installations we showcase in this particular campus. Sometime inside of this particular building, indoor display. Even we use the outside campus, the ground, the beautiful green ground, to display some of the artists' artworks guided by the restoration team, because stone, bronze sculpture we can keep in outside. We can't keep the wooden sculpture or plaster of Paris sculptures or painting outside. So let's go to the next slide. This is a view of the campus, and we have the horticulture team. They are also very necessary, and they are also helping the museum to look beautiful. I have noticed so many people, they come, they see the gallery inside, and sometimes they take rest, and then sometimes do sketches in this particular ground. So museum is not only run by the curators or the director general. We have the electrician team, the horticulture team, who really support us, the carpentry team, to have successful exhibition and a beautiful campus. Let's go to the next slide. This is the view when you are crossing India Gate Circle. I think many of us have noticed this particular building or not, but just next to High Court, this is the building which is named as Jaipur House. This is like double-storied building. We are still using the ground floor and the first floor for exhibitions. There are different rooms. And initially in 1954, when the museum started with Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan's initiative, Humayun Kabir was in the education department, it initially started with a sculpture exhibition where D.P. Roy Chaudhary, Ram Kinkar Bej, Dhanraj Bhagat, important artists' sculpture was displayed. And later on, this particular museum started to collect a lot of artist works. Right now, we have more than 17,000 artist works, which you also can have a kind of like idea through our website, ngmaindia.gov.in. So if you go to our website, you can have a kind of like a kind of assumption what kind of artist work we have and who are the masters of Indian art. Let's go to the next slide. Now, we were seeing Jaipur House from outside. This is the inside view of the new extension. So we are seeing there are step-by-step 4 floors, and according to the kind of like timeline or chronology from 1850 onwards till now, who are the important artists throughout India from different states, from different kind of region, and also artist collective we have on display. And a lot of times students come, so we have the kind of space to sit, talk, even do some sketching or workshops inside of this particular campus, as well as with the security precaution, we do sketching inside of the gallery also. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, this is a sculpture by Balan Nambiar, an artist who is based in Bangalore. So he is doing the particular sculpture with like casted iron. So we can keep this particular sculpture outside, like it's in the campus. So we are using the space in the campus to display important artist work. And also in the background, you can see this is an extension of New Wing. We have 3 blocks. We have a beautiful auditorium to showcase film screening, like we have film screening of artists and sometimes theaters and lecture presentation. We also have a kind of like conference room and preview theater. We have a beautiful library in the administrative block, which is free for the students. So you can come, you can register your name and you can sit and read journals, important artists presentation, or their kind of thought process through the historians and all. So this is a kind of quick kind of introduction of the space. Let's see a small video, a short video, how the museum look like, the Jaipur House especially look like when an exhibition happened and when an interaction happened with students. Yes.
क्योंकि बेसिक चीज़ आर्ट होता है, क्योंकि देखिए मेन काम होता है इसको खोलना है। एक बार आप दिमाग को खोल दिए ना, फिर और कुछ करना नहीं है, वो अपने आप चलता है। तो ये जो आर्ट इंस्टीट्यूशन होता है, हम लोग कोशिश करते हैं उनको ओपन करने की।
इसीलिए आपको सिलेक्ट किए, but how you can grow as a more important human being. Today 1981 an artist passed away. आज हम लोग उनको लेके चर्चा क्यों करें? अगर वो एक्सेलेंट थे, बट बहुत अच्छा ह्यूमन बीइंग भी थे। उनका काफी सारे स्टोरी, उनकी बेटी महेश्वेता महारथी, she came here and she really shared with us, and I am telling to you. Is it clear? Because I didn't see this artist.
इंटरेक्शन वो बहुत ज़रूरी है, ये बहुत कम हो रहे हैं आजकल। जब एक स्पेस में इंटरेक्ट होगा तो बहुत कुछ चीज़ खुलेगा, बहुत कुछ ओडिशा में क्या हो रहे हैं वो बताएगा, और चंडीगढ़ में क्या हो रहे हैं वो बताएगा। जो ये सारी चीज़ मर्ज होगा ना, हम और मजबूत होंगे और देश के लिए ये बहुत बड़ा अच्छा कदम होगा।
So this was an exhibition of Upendra Maharathi. This is pre-pandemic time, 2019. And usually when academic visits happen, we have received students with this particular, from different institutions, and also Speak Mackay program earlier happened physically. Now it is happening virtually. We have a curated work. I tell the story, and also the senior curators sometimes join. Sometimes the artist, if he or she is present, they also come for special lectures. And then we do workshops, like we encourage our participants to paint, to draw, whatever is coming, and sometimes music jamming session happen. So the whole campus look very vibrant. So usually we receive sometimes 200 students at a time, 800 students. So we break the group, show them film, we take them in a kind of like a exhibition round, and then ask question, and they also ask a lot of questions. So now, this particular video gave you an idea how the old building in this campus, how we are still kind of like having special exhibition of artists for like 3 months or 6 months. Now I will request we should see few of the important treasures of Indian art. We will start with an artist named Raja Ravi Verma. He was born in Kerala, and let's see what magic he has done. So I consciously said this word, magic he had done at that particular time. Because if you think Ravi Verma was born in 1848 and camera was introduced, if you think in world history perspective. So we have the still camera. But still, painting is very important because painting tells story about the time, socio-economic condition. It's more like a medium to speak with. Ravi Verma was from Kerala, and he was also an artist who started to paint with oil technique. In India, we have paintings from Bhimbedka. Like if you just think about the early age, we have beautiful sculptures in Indus Valley civilization. During that time, we have coin design also. We have paintings in Ajanta where natural light we were using, which came through the reflection of the river, and we painted. We have like Ellora, we have Konark, but Ravi Verma is from the time 19th century. So National Gallery of Modern Art, we have the collection, which is very important to know. We have the last 200 years painters, sculptors practice in our collection. Before that, if you want to know and explore, there is another museum named National Museum, Rashtriya Sangrahalaya. This is National Gallery of Modern Art. So we have this particular modern period. And during this time, Ravi Verma comes, and he was one of the important stalwart. Let's see one painting, Portrait of a Lady. Yes. So participants, if you are interested, just see, while we are seeing the painting, we can have a little bit information written also. So in your mobile, in your laptop, whenever you are feeling, you can go to our website, ngmaindia.gov.in, and you can have all the hyperlinks for you, and you can read about the artist. This artist painted so beautifully the portraits, and see the cloth, see the chair. We are using today plastic chair. We are using wooden chair also. But अगर artist 1848 में उनका birth year है और 1906 तक काम किया है, so it's almost like 100 years, 50 years ago, how the chair design was developed. Even अगर गौर से आप देखेंगे, if you see consciously in the background, the pillar looks so different from today's architecture. So I'm not saying if you are coming to a museum or appreciating painting or sculpture, you have to become an artist. You have to become a thinker who can think kind of extensively and explore things. As sochiye, we have our parents, we have our family members, teachers, friends who are wearing sari. But the weight of the sari, wo sari ka jo wazan hai, even the jewelry design also changed because we have much more working women in our society. At that point of time, if you think about 150 years ago, how many women colleges or how many women schools were there? So if you are appreciating jewelry and dress design and fashion design, you have to also think about the socio-economic condition, and also it allows you to think and know more and read more. Next. So while seeing these particular paintings, we can also see each time you're seeing a painting is moving from the screen, the informations are also changing. Like quickly, I can introduce, we have 5 senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin to experience the whole world. We also have some friends who are spatially able. But in the museum, also we have some points, basic points. The first is a collection. We are appreciating the modern time artist. So it's more like 19th century onwards. We have beautiful miniatures in our collection. We have European traveler artists like Thomas Daniel, Terry Kittle, their collection in our collection. And then we have Ravi Verma in this particular time period, which is mid-19th century. And then we move on. So it's huge if you just think about it. And each time you can see the ACC number. If you see in the left of this particular painting, there will be written ACC number, which means accession number. Like we in our college, in our school time, we have our identity card, even in our office. So we have our unique identity code. So each painting in the museum, they have the particular identity code. So the curators or the management team can easily locate the painting. It is also very important for the security purpose. A beautiful painting, Lady in Moonlight. Just see how efficiently the artist captured the essence of moonlight, even on the reflection of the water. Kitne baar practice kiye hai ye artist. It's just hand painted. It is oil medium, and he was one of the important person in India who started with this medium. India में ज़्यादातर हम लोग water-based medium में काम करते थे. Watercolor, tempera, we have fresco in Ajanta. But oil painting was not very much in practice in Asia. If you read and study 18th century, 19th century, while the European artists came to India to document, because photography is not that much popular. So we kind of like started to speak in English. We started to paint with oil technique also. Beautifully, you can see how he rendered the drapery, the cloth, and also the hairstyle. Let's go to the next image. Yes, you can see the posture of the lady standing. So you're posing actually for the artist, and he was from Kerala, but he worked in Mysore for the king and queen. Also, he moved for Baroda. He also did some paintings there in the palace. And while I appreciate this painting, it is written oleograph on paper. He was such a popular name at that point of time because he painted the beliefs like Ramayana, Mahabharata, the kind of like the folklore stories, and common people of India was loving his image. But yes, you can't afford because it's oil painting. So what he did very efficiently, he started print making, chapa chitra, oil-based print making, which is named as oleograph. So from one block, you can have 200 prints and then sign. So it will be much more cheaper and it can reach to the common people house. So today, when we see our date calendars, most of the time we see Shiva, Parvati, Lakshmi, Saraswati, very frontal face, very realistic. It's because of him. He is the kind of game changer. We have paintings of god and goddesses earlier also, but it was always side face, profile, not very realistic. It was much more thematic representation. So he was a change maker. But now see that carpet design, first dekhi. Today also sometime in offices, in houses, we use carpet, but design kitna alag hai. If you see patiently, the curtain is so heavy. In some houses, we can have, like occasional houses, we can have this kind of curtain, but generally in our room, in our offices, we have very light color curtain usually nowadays. So as the time is changing, the movement is changing, the kind of like civilization is changing, the color palette change. And I really like, there is a hand fan. On the wall, you can see there's a hand fan. Peacock feather hand fan. So while seeing this painting, if I am teaching in a school or in a college, I can do kind of art integrated learning. I can show this particular painting and tell students, see, at that point of time, maybe electricity was not there. So what happened? You start to appreciate a particular painting from different direction. Yes. Next slide.
So I had a question over here.
Yes.
Yes. So how, according to you, do the works of Raja Ravi Verma invoke our thinking process? How do you think it shades light on the various aspects of his time?
Yeah, I was already kind of like answering your question, what I feel. But if you just see, if you want to become a theater designer, or if you want to become a fashion designer, if you want to become even an architect, or you are in different profession, maybe you are in medical science or engineer. If you come to a museum, if you visit a museum in any state, any small city or country, you start to see a museum as a visual library. Like we have history books, right? So it's more like a visual history book. So you go there and you start to see so many things. If I am a movie maker, I always need an art director who will tell me how this particular character will look like. So if the art director is kind of involved in a process, they always see painting. Like if I am going to make a movie of 19th century, I will always take a reference of like if you just see Ravi Verma, because he's kind of clothing, how he kind of represented the time, the sitting posture, expression, hairstyle, jewelry will help me to do the characterization. So I just gave an example. It can open up a lot of discussion, like women education, equality, everything can also come if you start to involve in that particular process and spend much more time with one painting, quality time with your friends, sometime with family. Even you are coming by yourself, you don't have to always attend a curated walk or an audio guide program. Just see the painting and just think about the time, what was happening. Yeah, I hope I have answered the question, and let's move to the next image. So here we have seen two ladies are sitting. This is again a oleograph oil-based printing process. Next slide. Hansa Damayanti story, but yes, the artist kept it untitled. So here, first point of the museum, like we said, 5 points in our life, 5 senses are very important. 5 points are very important. The first work of a museum is to collect painting. These paintings were not done in NGN. These were done by Raja Ravi Verma, which were collected. The first important thing in a museum is collection team's work. Second is documentation. You are writing, you are archiving, you are writing the artist's name, you are giving an accession number, ACC number, you're writing which medium the artist used. Second is documentation. Third is restoration. Restoration means, obviously today we have a digital platform. IT department of this particular museum, they are rigorously working. But before that, restoration, you are keeping this particular paintings and sculpture as it is. With time, you are checking it. The humidity, temperature, what will be the lighting inside the gallery, everything you have to look after. Even the storage where you are keeping the painting, you have to be very conscious. Our security guards also help a lot, because also the gallery staff, like, who always be there, ask you, don't touch the painting. And even you are going to any museum, any kind of like sculpture or painting, you are excited, you are going to touch, please don't touch, because you have hand grease, you have this kind of like dirt which can go to that particular painting. So the third point is restoration, and fourth is display, how you are presenting that painting and sculpture inside the gallery, how you are making it attractive, what is the map, how the people will move and experience the story is also very important. And the last and very important point is education. Education is more like versatile. It's more like holistic learning, as Nirjaji said. So it's more like you are seeing a painting, but you are giving an idea of history. You are talking about your geography. He was from Kerala. What is the environment there? How he was practicing. So it's more like a kind of like you are kind of relating the time through a painting. And see the pillar in this particular image. The pillars will represent the time, the palace, and the interaction between a swan. And we know this folklore, Hansa Damayanti, but it is untitled, given by the artist, so it was recorded like that. So collect the image, document the information, restore it, conserve it, treat it properly. Fourth, display, arrange it in the physical space with light, with proper distance and everything. And last, educate people. The museums are meant for education. Let's go to the next image. And I think now our audience or participants can see this is not Ramayana, this is a sequence of Mahabharata, though it is untitled, but you can see Krishna is sitting in your right side with this kind of blue kind of skin tone, and the headgear, you can see there is a the peacock feather, and also you can see in the left side Dhritarashtra. तो ये देख के हमें पता चल जाता है, क्योंकि इतने बार सुने हैं हम लोग, जो विश्वास है और उस जगह से कनेक्ट कर रहे हैं आर्टिस्ट. So maybe in front of him the Mahabharata was not happening, but how realistically he represented the belief, it's very important. See the dressing sense, see the pillars. You can have an atmosphere, the interior design of the time of palaces and sequences, you can have an idea. So how the artists are important, why the artists are important? Because they are storytellers, silently, without words, they tell story. We will go to the next artist, Amrita Shergill. So we have seen Ravi Verma, he was one of the acclaimed artists. He also set up a printmaking studio, and from one block, he was kind of taking so many prints, and it was appreciated by the common people. Amrita Shergill, a very important milestone. How many women artists we have before independence and after independence? Not only in India, all over the world, we have to think about it. She was born in a family, her father was Indian, mother was Hungarian. So let's see, when she was in Paris, in her early stage, what kind of practice she was doing. And she lived a very young life, 28 years only. Let's see what she did in Paris and Hungary period. Next slide. Yes, this is a self-portrait. We today are in a lockdown situation. A lot of artists, my friends, they are doing self-study. So they are standing in front of the mirror and they are painting, they are trying to paint themselves. Sometimes I also did in my university days. But it's very important, self-portrait, but you can see consciously, this is accession number 1, ACC number 1. I was talking about collection documentation. So you collected this image. This was the first collected image ever in this museum. We have 2 more branches in Bombay and also in Bangalore. But Delhi building is a kind of like this museum started in 1954. Later on, Bombay and Bangalore branch came. So this collection, how you develop. This is Amrita Shergill seeing herself in the mirror, and she was practicing. She was in École de Beaux-Arts in Paris when she was learning. And later on, her family and she shifted to India. She was traveling in India a lot. Next slide, please. And she was practicing with oil medium, because at that point of time, if you think about it, Adam and Eve, like Ravi Verma painted Mahabharata. How efficiently. But Amrita Shergill's painting Adam and Eve is an entirely different style. So our handwritings are different. Each of us have a different handwriting, different way of thinking and voice. So Adam and Eve, you can see how she represented this particular theme. A divine light is coming. And these are the first man and woman, as we know. Next slide, please. Again, a self-portrait, and see the accession number. You can see it's more like accession number 1. We have seen accession number 3. Again, a self-portrait. So you sit in front of the mirror. You don't need a person or friend or your mom and dad. You are practicing. You are developing as a kind of like a learner. And then with your practice of 5-10 years, you are becoming an artist. Next slide. Yusuf Ali Khan, one of his friends, and you can just see, you can also think about the season, you can see the kind of color, dressing, you can talk about the space through a painting, the mood of the person. Next. Yes, this we call still life painting. Obviously, it is a plant, but the plant has a life, but this is not moving like a portrait. If you are drawing, sometimes the figure move and it's like human being. But sometimes you paint objects like your shoe, your almirah, or a table. Sometimes artists practice these things. So you can see a beautiful painting done by Amrita Shergill, just a simple subject. So we sometimes see artists search for subject, but sometimes it's just your next door subject you are taking and inside of your house. So I think pandemic or this lockdown situation allowed a lot of artists or thinkers or writers to reflect upon the immediate surrounding. Her mother was a opera singer. Her father was a very kind of like at that point of time practicing photographer, and he had a lot of estates. Let's go to the next zone. 1937 India. When she was in India, how she practiced, what will be the color palette? Let's see. So Amrita Shergill was kind of continuously, when she came back to India, she was traveling from Shimla to Lahore to kind of like Ajanta she visited, South India, village girl. Just see the color palette. Color palette up dekhiye, Indian red, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, and see also the chudi, the bangle, and the hairstyle is so different from the whole vibration is different from the practices which she was doing earlier. I will request, let's go to the next slide. Each painting you can see that code is different. Yes, this we are planning new exhibitions. So we hope this after this pandemic fear, we will open this particular museum with new exhibitions. So we are planning a beautiful exhibition with Nandalal Bose works, and also the important masters. With the important masters, we are planning an exhibition. So it's right now not open. We are working on it. So once you are coming in the museum after this pandemic fear, with proper precaution, you will see these paintings, original paintings on display properly. But yes, at least we are having a virtual work. Bride's toilet, they're having haldi, but they're not at all happy. What was the age of marriage before independence? 1941, she passed away before independence. Like, how many women were going to school? What was the age? 9, 10, 13? So, mahol kaise hai, ambience kaise? It's not very happy painting. But why she was important, so much important artist? Because she was telling the story of the society. She's becoming more like a media. So we are seeing a painting, but we start to think about earthen pot. as an object. वो आपका एक area denote कर देता है. Like you start to think about, okay, it's not very kind of like today's time, because we are using plastic, stainless steel. Yes, still, if you are going towards suburban area and villages, you can see earthen pots used. Even in Shahar, in the cities also, sometimes we have conscious people who are using earthen pots and all. Even the dress, the expression of the people tells the time and the story. Let's go to the next slide. So Brahmacharis, just see the balance of color, how she composed, like the depth, the foreground, background, the white kind of like Janeu, Tilak, and the dhoti, how she composed this particular painting beautifully. Next. Siesta means rest, and it's pre-independent India. She never met Gandhi. Like I was reading in library and I was just searching. I never have this particular information. I have she kind of met Gandhi or not. But yes, you can see a charkha. The element sticks, the charpoy. It's very Indian. You can just think about like how you can think about an Anganbari or the kind of a threshold of a house. How they are sitting, someone is kind of lying down, resting. It's more like a cozy atmosphere. And she was sketching a lot when she was traveling. It's not possible for an artist to paint with oil painting on the spot always. Sometimes artists do. But her sketchbooks she did, and then from the sketchbooks she developed this particular paintings. Let's go to the next slide. Mendicants. So now see, if you just see the particular the dress color, the chadar, the clothes, the bag, the hairstyle. Two mendicants. Next slide. So once she came to India, you can see her style of painting also changed. Yeah. So it's very interesting. Like once you change the space, the color scheme and everything changed. Let's go to 1941 India. So we see like how the senior curators and also the IT department, they have different folders. They prepare different folders so easily student can connect with the kind of journey of an artist. A lot of people say how you can become an artist is constant practice. Any musician, poet, the dancer, you can see they practice for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and then slowly they start to have that particular recognition. You can see village girls. How they are very much involved in, they are making something, and see the colors, the bright colors, the primary colors. Next. Yeah, this is also very important. The last and unfinished painting, you can see it is written. So when we receive the paintings and artworks in the museum, sometimes we receive with untitled, this particular, like the artist didn't give the title, so we can't put a title. But when we have this particular painting, last unfinished painting, so how a documentation happens. She was just 28 years and she passed away while this particular painting was happening. So according to the record, we are seeing our practice. 1913 born, 1941 passed away. But within these 28 years, what magic she has done and how she raised her voice. And still today, there are a lot of women artists that take inspiration from this particular path maker. So let's go to the next artist, Nicholas Roerich. An artist who came from Russia. He was a traveler, painter. And if you see his practice, I think you need less words. Even I noticed last 5 years I am learning in this particular museum while working. I have noticed a lot of people, they don't need information. They just see the painting and they just enjoy painting, reading the caption or the wall text. Then always people are not interested to attend the curated work or what the people are sharing. They want to interpret. So sometimes silence in the museum is very important because you start to feel them. So if you just see this particular image, you can also think about from where the sunlight is coming. What is the kind of like the depth? And this artist, he was in love with Himalayas. Let's see next painting. I hope the participants are enjoying this particular section, because while you're sitting in your house, you're having a virtual tour, and these are the important treasures of Indian art. And see, you can feel that depth also. See the sunlight which he captured with the brush strokes, and it's tempera on cardboard. So tempera, if you think about the medium, is also very important, because tempera is more like opacity. You have much more thick kind of color. Watercolor is much more transparent. So if you just see this particular artist practice, how efficiently and meticulously the artist is presenting what he was feeling in those areas. So he was traveling, he was sketching, he was drawing. He did oil painting also, but mostly he did tempera, work with tempera medium. Next slide. Again, you can think about the light source coming from the right side. Beautifully painted. Next slide, please. So I feel like I'm seeing through my window. Yeah, like if you have a room in around this area, from the window, if you open, it is much more photographic, but these are all hand painted by Nicholas Roerich. 1874, he was born, and 1947, he passed away. If you visit Nagar, Himachal Pradesh, there's a research center on him also. And like his collection, you can see at National Gallery of Modern Art, you can see in Banaras Hindu University's collection, you can also see in Bangalore in some private collection. One of the important artists who came from Russia, stayed in India for a long time, and how he represented the nature. And sometimes we also travel. Just take a small sketchbook. Let's go to the next slide. See, just take a small sketchbook. You can just sit and do some drawings. You can feel there. He didn't paint it one single person in this landscape, but you can see the small houses. You can feel the depth. You can feel the distance. Let's go to the next artist. We have seen Nicholas Roerich, we have seen Amrita Shergill, we have seen Raja Ravi Verma. Now we will see an artist, Nandalal Bose. Not only an artist, he was a great educator at the time. We will start with Haripura posters. A bit story about Haripura poster. If we are a history student and if we know Indian history, 1938, Haripura Adhiveshan happened. The Haripura meeting happened where Gandhiji spoke and tried to accumulate the energy of the people and rejuvenate them. Swadeshi movement was happening. So interestingly, if you see Ravi Verma's practice and the time, it's much more he was practicing for the people who living in palace, or the god and goddesses stories, or the folklores, which are very popular. He painted a lot of portraits. So it's more like commission work and this kind. Here you can see Amrita Shergill came a little bit towards life. Bride's toilet. People are getting ready for marriage, haldi and all, brahmacharis. And we have seen Nicholas Roerich. He painted extensively nature. Nandalal Bose, that's pranam, your everyday ritual. So if the society is moving from the kind of Raja Rani towards democracy, if you see, also the images are changing. Artists' ideas are changing, as well as writers' writing are changing. It's more like you are appreciating each and every day's daily routine. That is becoming the subject to celebrate. And these paintings, which we are seeing right now in the section Haripura posters, these were developed with an invitation of Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi asked Nandalal Bose. He was in Kolkata initially under the guidance of Abanindranath Tagore. Then he moved to Shantiniketan, Bolpur, another place in Bengal, 3 hours distance from the city Kolkata. But he was teaching there. He was invited to do these panels, which will be displayed in the meeting place in Haripura village, where Gandhiji will speak. So a lot of common people, they saw these images and they felt these are the representation, and they came and joined in the discussions. So sometimes image, at that point of time, we don't have printing technology of flakes and everything. So you can see how an artist connect with the society. And we are planning a beautiful exhibition on Nandalal Bose. Hope you will come. Once the exhibition is open, you can have the information from our Facebook page and also in Instagram, and also you can check our website. Let's go to the next slide. So this is again very quick, but farmer, tiller of the soil. Very quick, but you can see proportion. Just see the frame. He is also doing a unique kind of thing, he's framing each kind of subject in the same kind of frame. So you are unifying actually the villagers, right? Yes, next slide. Carpenter. Like if you just think about whoever kind of represented these subjects in 15th century, 13th century, we have paintings, but a subject which is focusing just carpenter. So you start to celebrate that profession, you start to give that honor to the person. And once these people see these images, they will come to that ground, discuss, interact. Yeah. Let's go to the
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So I read somewhere that Nandalal Bose also contributed in the making of the Indian Constitution through various illustrations. So would you like to throw some light on that aspect of his?
Yeah, because we have this particular, I have a lot of things in mind, but it's a very important thing which you should have shared. We should feel proud, like not only he did the Haripura posters, he was invited by the Constitution Committee to do the illustrations along with other artists. He was not only the one person who designed it, but he was in charge. So there was another person, Beohar Ram Manohar Singh from Madhya Pradesh, and few of his students with a team. He did this particular beautiful borders and illustration of Constitution of India. So it's very necessary information which you have shared. So you can see an artist was practicing, he's developing his skill, he was invited, he's doing posters, he's doing book illustrations or design. He's involved in so many manners. Yes, next. And not only the man, the woman are also important, and they are taking the kind of primary area in the particular painting. And just see the color scheme, activity, the force, the line, the color, the elements of art is very important when you appreciate a painting. The perspective sense, contrast of color, line, texture. Next. But yes, each painting of this Haripura poster have a unique frame, which was hand-painted frame. And it kind of like, if you think slowly, it brings a kind of like an idea of an architecture. And each time you can see the subjects are different. Yeah. Next. So whatever he was experiencing at that point of time, how he was representing Dhaki, the drummer in occasion we have noticed. But you can see if he is playing drum, the rhythm of the figure, the rhythm in the body is also very important. I will request now, let's go to a section which is monochrome. Let's see, few works. Monochrome means with one single color, how you can paint. So you can see white paper and you can paint on black. So you can do the reverse process also. You can take a black paper and you can draw with white. So it's monochrome. Peacocks. So when he moved from Kolkata to teach in Shantiniketan, Bolpur, and interact with students around the nature, sometimes he was moving with sketchbook, sketchpad, and briefing students, because it was the initiative of Rabindranath Tagore where he was also moving from Kolkata to Shantiniketan, much more peaceful area where open learning, learn from nature, these things were discussed. Let's go to the next slide. And you can see, if you are teaching, you are also practicing. It's very important. 1882 born, this artist saw the pre-independence time, independence time, and also the post-independence time. He lived till 1966. So it's very important how the subject matter of the artist, of the writer, is connected with the time. Ravi Verma का subject, क्योंकि वो artist 1906 तक काम किए, उनके artworks, उनके subject, delineation कितना अलग है. Amrita Shergill 1913 to 1941. Nicholas Roerich 1874 to 1947. But here this artist is much more like post-independence, where you have the freedom to paint what you feel. You are feeling for nature. Next slide. And you are painting with a single black watercolor tone, and you are creating the depth. Beautifully, your eyes will be inside, and how efficiently with the tonal variation, the contrast is also a very important element when you create a painting. How through this contrast you can make a pictorial drum. Next. Yeah, also the people around you, the Santal person. She is doing something, a Santhal lady. And also he is kind of signing, keeping the date. It is more like an autobiography. You are writing here, you are writing through your painting. Painting or drawing as a language is also very important. Whoever you're saying, it's a very quick approach, but at least you can have a presence of mind. I will request now, let's see a very interesting space, which is National Gallery of Modern and obviously New Delhi. And let's walk inside the gallery. So right now we are inside a new wing, and in your right side you are seeing a sculpture. We have just kind of seen a sculpture by Meera Mukherjee. If you can show us, yes. So Meera Mukherjee was one of the important sculptors. So this is the third level of the gallery, of the new wing. We have seen a short video about Jaipur House earlier, but right now we are inside new wing. A lot of different age group people come. So we also have the sitting area. So if you are tired, it's a big museum, you can rest, you can sit for some time and feel easy. And then you can again concentrate. And sometimes we sit on floor also. I remember Speak Mackay team when we were receiving students from different colleges under the Speak Mackay program. When they were physically coming before 2020, we were sitting in this floor and we were having interactive sessions, sometimes also sketching session. So you can see there is a red door, which is the fire exit. So once you come to the museum, it's more like an institution where you can have, according to the time, all the artists on display. So in this floor, we have Nandalal Bose on display. We have Jamini Rai. We have Ram Kinkar Bej, one of the important sculptor in India, Sailoj Mukherjee. So this important artist we have on third floor. But if we go to first, means one, which is the basement. Let's go there. So these links are all in our website. Please feel free, visit, and it's very easy. I will extend my thanks to Speak Mackay technical team, and especially Vaibhav, who is in behind the scene, showing us the particular the gallery through the link which was shared from the museum site to him. So you can see the basement is a special exhibition space. So there was an exhibition of company paintings. Let's zoom in, Vaibhav, and show some of the picture of the wall in the same floor. So you can see how much gap, and this is Ravi Verma section. So Ravi Verma's painting we have seen one by one as a kind of like slide presentation or PPT, but how the museum display. So the 5 points, if you remember: collection, documentation. We collected the painting, have the captions, informations written for the public or the visitors, then display. What will be the cleanliness? So the housekeeping team is important. Electricity, AC, carpentry team, and how you create an exhibition space much more attractive, much more decent, soothing, so people can come, spend some time, spend some quality time. And if they're interested, they can ask you, or they can sit in the library and read about the artist and have education. So we have different zones. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, a different level. And also we have this small particular, you can see the popular zones in boxes. This was an initiative with National Gallery of Modern Art and Google Art and Culture team. We have developed this particular 360-degree area. This is an Amrita Shergill's painting area. And in the left side, if you can show very well, we just crossed the bride's toilet, which we have seen in the presentation. So it's quite kind of like interesting to know how a museum, by the kind of timeline and chronology, we have miniature paintings on display, then European artists, then Ravi Verma section, then Abanindranath Tagore, and slowly we move Rabindranath, the poet and the writer and the painter, then we have Amrita Shergill. So according to the chronology, you can have this visual journey. I will request all of you to see through these links, read about the artists and this particular museum, and please visit. You see the ramp, because sometimes the much heavier sculpture or big artwork, when we are moving, it does not always fit inside of the kind of like the lift, or we can't kind of take through the stairs. So the ramp is very important inside these particular institutions. And also for the spatially able people, or the kids who are coming in perambulator, or the family member who are much more senior, they can't walk. So the ramp really helps. So it's more like a space for us, and we, the youth, with our kind of like interest, we can make this particular space much more vibrant, and this can be an educational center. Obviously, it's an educational center, an institution by its own practice, but with our interest, we can come, we can take sessions, we can take classes, we can take a history class, we can take a literature class, we can take even mathematics with artwork, which we call art integrated learning. And always NGMA staff, seniors, and particularly the ground staff, they're welcoming you. And like, let's go to the next area. So yes, we have seen the museum in a bit, like we have seen the treasures of Indian art, few of them. And we also seen the space, the campus, how it looked like. Also, we have walked through the new wing. We have a kind of idea of Jaipur House, and I am personally waiting for all of you. The physical experience is really kind of immortal. So with precaution, the museum is open, but we are not encouraging big groups right now. But individually with your friends, slowly, with precaution, you can come. And once these new exhibitions, this is a permanent gallery, this is open right now, but new exhibitions we are preparing. So once these new exhibitions are open, you are most welcome. Over to you, Shubha.
Thank you, sir. We thoroughly enjoyed every moment of the Heritage Walk. We now have amongst us Soumya Saxena, a student from National Victor Public School, Delhi, who would like to ask you a question.
Sure.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
I would like to know what activities NGMA offers for academic purpose when it's open for public.
Soumya, before answering your question, you enjoyed the session? Tell me.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
like this particular, the idea, the virtual tour idea? So great.
Yes,
so
sir.
thanks to SpeakMac and Nirchaji and the whole team. And thank you for raising the question. So once the museum is open, as I said, we receive a lot of students. So always we encourage students to come with a small sketchbook or writing pad, so you can note down, you can kind of sketch also. After the tour or the storytelling session, the students can sit somewhere, they can draw architecture, they can ask questions. Sometimes we have film screening of artists in the auditorium, which is also very helpful because you are knowing more about a single artist. We do night in a museum program. We had successful 6 programs of night in a museum. Like it's 11 to 6, the timing of the museum, apart from Monday. Monday is a closed day for the maintenance. So the museum is open from 6 to 11 p.m. So a lot of people who are going to office can't come, parents, they bring the children. So in a month, we have this particular night in a museum program. So these are all conceived by the Director General and the senior curators. And we had art adda. So the curators will come, sit in the green area in the ground, and informally will speak with the audience or visitors or some particular museum lovers who will give suggestions. So workshops, summer workshops happen, and if we are having a special exhibition like Upendra Marathi exhibition, we saw the video. So once a student group came, saw Upendra Marathi, and then they reflected whatever is going inside in their mind. We have music jamming session. Sometime we do this kind of like, we have a library where you can come and see. So it's a hub. We also like receive a lot of students from different age groups, not only schools, also colleges and even researchers. They come and they have a very good time. 11 to 6, Tuesday to Sunday. Monday is the maintenance day, so the museum is closed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. We are all eagerly waiting to explore and experience NGMA physically. We also have Swardhani Singh amongst us from National Victor Public School, who would like to ask you the next question.
Good evening, sir. I would like to ask you why, according to you, are museum visits important for us if we visit a new country or a new city?
Okay, thank you. I was struggling with this unmute thing. You enjoyed the session first. It's very important because.
Sure, it was a great experience.
Okay, so you have history classes, right? You have geography
Yes,
classes
sir.
in your school, right? So you are reading from the book. You have the drawings and illustrations also in the book. You have a
Yes, sir.
library also. So you ask your teacher. But museum is more like an open library. It's full of pictures and sculptures. It's not about National Gallery of Modern Art. If you go to a science museum, you can learn and know about science in a very practical way. So it's more like tactile education or experiential learning, right? So if there is crafts museum, handicrafts museum, there is National Museum. National Museum tells the story of Indus Valley civilization, Kushan period, Gupta period. But our museum tells the story from last 200 years, which is much more like machineries came, you can just see it. There are kind of like industrialization happening. So you have ready-made color. पहले तो artist को color बनाना पड़ता था, paper बनाना पड़ता था, right? So now that the modern age, how the artists are reflecting their ideas. So yes, if you are visiting any country, any city or any village, if you get a chance, if you know in the itinerary there is a small museum even, not a big museum. काफी सारे state में छोटा-छोटा museum भी होता है. Please visit that museum. If you are eager, there will be one person in the museum who will tell you the story. कुछ समय लोग शायद manpower नहीं रहता है, छुट्टी के दिन होता है, but please visit the small and the big museums whenever you get chance, when you are becoming mature, even in this age, when you are traveling. Please visit museum because it tells stories which is incredible, which are incredible. Like the sites tell story, like Taj Mahal or Konark Temple tell you story, right? वैसे ही museum tell you story with the objects. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your response. Thank you so much.
I would request Mansi to take over, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ganguly, for letting us rediscover India's artistic past. NGMA is truly one of the most magnificent art galleries in the country, and we thank the museum authorities for supporting us throughout. I'm sure the audience has thoroughly enjoyed this sensational heritage walk. It has been an absolute honor for the entire SpeakMaker team to interact with you, sir, and we hope to connect with you in a future event as well. Thank you once again for this enriching experience. We also thank our supporters, Department of Youth Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Ministry of Textiles, Ministry of Cultures, SRF Foundation, Ashok Leyland, Takshila Educational Society, Dr. Vikram Seth, and Kushum Gar. I express my deep gratitude to the audience for joining us. We await your presence at the closing ceremony from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. and from 6 p.m. for the Western Classical Music Concert to witness an exceptional performance by violinist Mr. Stephen Barrett Dew. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Yeah, all of you are requested to please refresh your browser. We'll be shortly back in a minute. Thank you so much.